Hello everyone, it's me Jenny and welcome to my D&D show thing. So for today's D&D and Me, I'm going to be talking about my session that I had on Wednesday. And it was really interesting because it's my first ever D&D session where there has been no combat. There was no combat at all during the session. It was all diplomacy, there was some stealth checks, there was an animal handling check because my panther met the emperor of the world we're part of. I had to make sure that he was under control. And it was very interesting. There was lots of very careful city things and a lot of fun. My character, when she's in town, does a lot of lying just on principle. And I went from like inn to inn, rolling really badly on my deception checks, beautifully badly, and failing horribly trying to get free rooms. But one of the interesting things that happened, I don't know whether or not it'll happen again this week, because with new players, we had a new player who's part of this group who, it was her first session with the whole of our D&D group, not just with this particular campaign, so she was jumping into a rather high RP session. And I think possibly having a new player slowed it down. That's possibly why we didn't have any combat at all, but it was very interesting being someone who still considers themselves a new D&D player, actually guiding someone else through making a character. And you know, I found it tricky but manageable to roll up my character to a level 5 to start the campaign, but she's rolling up to a level 5 character as her first character, or she said she'd played with another group but they were all newbies, and so this was the first time playing with an experienced group. And so it was really lovely and weird and wonderful being not the least experienced person, and actually being able to help someone else, because you know, when you can see someone who's looking at a book and they've got that kind of like blank panic expression on them when they're like, when you look at a player's handbook which is like that thick and it's a lot of information to compartmentalize, plus leveling up to level 5, and she was looking at these feats like, I don't know what I'm doing. So I was guiding her through that, and she's been introduced as a really interesting character who's, I think my character and her character are going to get on really, really well. It's always a little bit of a tenuous thing when you have new players to a new group as to whether or not they'll turn up for the next session, so I'll be really interested to see whether or not she turns up to this week. But it was really, really fun, and for a non-combat at all game, it was my first ever and I really enjoyed it. I had a really good time, like, just playing around in this sandbox of different characters, and it was really, really very cool. Yeah, so I'll update you on that next week. So for today's D&D and We, where I talk about the wider internet community and D&D things I found in that space, usually I talk about Critical Role because that's my go-to. And it's interesting because as with my D&D and Me this week, we had no combat at all, while for this week's Critical Role it was a full 3-hour-long battle, which was exhausting. As I said, I think in one of my hangouts, one of my previous videos this week, I probably wouldn't put it on my list of favourite episodes because what I love about Critical Role is the fact that it's very character driven, it's very RP driven, and it's hard to do that when it's a complete and utter battle driven story. But I really enjoyed it. It was very tense, and as I was saying on my stream, which I think probably I'll cut out a reasonable amount of it. This is not filmed on the right day, if you're wondering. I'll cut out a reasonable amount of it from my Monday gaming video, but I said a lot in my stream that there's a definite skill to making battles difficult enough. When I did my miniature session as a DM, and as my DM has confessed to me during this arc, it's you as a DM, you're tempted to pull back on the difficulty. You're tempted to, you know, minimize those multi-attacks and to cut down those spells and take out those legendary resistances, or, you know, level a character down. And you can do the maths. There are ways to do maths where you take skill level and you take the skill level of your players and kind of work it down, and you can work out the maths for it. But then as a DM you're like, oh, I really don't want to do a TPK. I really don't want to be responsible for a TPK. And in doing that it makes it less challenging. It makes it less of a, you know, heroes striving and just winning victory, grasping it from the last minute. And that's the magic of this particular episode of Critical Role, in that it was a tightly won battle. It wasn't heroes just coming in and kicking ass and taking names. It was, you know, absolutely the perfect final moment between Grog and his competitor. I'm not going to try and spoil anything for people who haven't seen the episode, but it was the best moment and the best way to end that battle, with a level of finality and poetic justice, which I can't say anything about, but it was so well done. As I said, it probably won't go in my list of favourite episodes from Critical Role, but damn if I wasn't impressed. And I'm very impressed with the fact that because they're all storytellers, and Matthew Mercer challenges his characters, you get those hero moments, you get those, you know, last minute saves, and those hero moments that you wouldn't otherwise get unless you were all part of the same storytelling group, which is fantastic. And I hope to have a moment like that at some point in the course of this season, or maybe in a few years as I continue playing D&D. It was inspiring and beautifully done. And for a super quick D&D and Creativity, my dress has arrived! I'll keep you guys updated on that one. Feel free to comment, and I'll see you guys all very soon. Bye guys.